Good afternoon and welcome to Season 3, Episode 1 of Storytime with Grandma Emma. For you folks who have been following us, this is our third installment of Storytime with Grandma Emma. Emma Ortega, one of our absolute favorite presenters and performers here at American Indians in Texas at the Spanish Colonial Mission, and just overall favorite here in San Antonio. If you aren't lucky enough to have caught her at one of our Indian markets or open pop-ups or even our programs downtown, Grandma Emma is from the Lipan Apache Carrizo Comecrudo tribes here of Texas, and is a traditional storyteller and all-around wonderful, amazing artist. I am so happy every time I get to share space with you on this wonderful couch. I know I get lots of really great feedback whenever we do these, and so people always look forward to the next season. So I'm so happy we can do this again.
Thank you, and here we are in our famous, beautiful turquoise couch.
Mm-hmm.
It's been an interesting year this past year. A lot of growth, a lot of confusion, but a lot of gratitude, a lot of things to be thankful for. And we have to remember that. Also, I love this new place. I've had a kind of a subtle year, but this young man here has got a crazy year. So I'll let him tell you something about that.
So right now, for our first episode, we were actually filming on location at the Spirit Waters Art Gallery. It is our birth baby here. It is the forever home of our Indigenous Arts program here at American Indians in Texas. But we finally have a forever home where we can house all of our exhibitions, our gallery space, and we now have a 4-building campus here at 1616 East Commerce Street. And right now we are in the Spirit Waters Art Gallery with the Ramon Vasquez y Sanchez art show on display. It has 70 years of his artwork up on the walls. We had his opening reception just last week, which you were a great part of. Thank you so much for being a part of our grand opening. We invited all of San Antonio to come celebrate with us the opening of this new space. And in this space, in this gallery, we hope to have 6 rotating exhibitions per year, a local Indigenous artist. This is San Antonio's first and permanent Native American arts gallery owned and operated by Native Americans. It's a really big deal. Very proud of my team for all the work they've been able to do to put this place together. I know I would not have been able to do this myself. Very blessed to have so many wonderful people and wonderful talents be part of the AIT. And I get to now enjoy this beautiful space, which I hope the rest of San Antonio gets to enjoy at some point too. So.
It is a wonderful place. It's a warm place. It's a welcoming place. You feel it as soon as you come in. There's something calming about the place, and that's always good. I love it. The energy in here is so good. So when he said we're going to do stories again, oh yeah. And when I saw the turquoise couch, I said, oh yeah.
It fits so well in here, right? Like it goes so perfectly with the gallery space.
Yes, and we love the other place. The other place had a total different energy, which was very positive. It was a colorful area. I don't know, they both have 2 total different energies, but they're both positive energies. They're good, happy energies. And right now we need a lot of that.
Sure.
We need a lot of energy around us because it's been a strange year. We've had so many things happening, good things, bad things, the weather, what's going on in the world right now with the weather, keeping all our relatives, whether they are Native or non-Native, in our prayers.
Mm-hmm.
So much catastrophe in one part of the world and something totally different, drought in another. And so we have to remember to keep all these beautiful people, our relatives, and their animals too, their pets, because they are part of our daily lives. So keep them all in prayer. And so I guess that's one of the reasons why I personally like to tell animal stories, because we have that connection with them and they're such great teachers. Later on, probably on the 4th time that we meet this in April, I'll bring some different kind of stories relating to what I'm talking about right now. But for right now, we're just gonna bring some of the old stories because they have a background, they have a history, and there is a reason why we talk about these. We don't want to forget them. And hopefully we say it often enough that you remember them and the little ones will remember them. And this is one of those stories. The story takes place at a time like the season that it is right now. Well, a little bit before. In this place, it is very, very cold. Super, super cold. It is winter. Winter at its highest. Snow everywhere. The rivers are frozen. The icicles are on everything. You fall everywhere. It's just snow and ice everywhere. In this place lived an old man. Skinny, scrawny, just old beard on this old man. Long, long gray hair on this old man. And he lived in a house made out of nothing but ice. He only had one friend, and that friend was a north wind. And north wind would fly in and come in and sit right across from him. And they would talk and talk about all the things that they were doing, how they were making the rivers freeze, how the people couldn't walk because if people were walking, north wind would blow in front of them and the ground would turn to ice and the people would fall. And they thought it was hilarious. The trees were all covered with snow and ice. The birds couldn't live. And they said, when I blow my breath on everything, it freezes. And the old man would laugh and laugh. And there in front of him was like a little fire, but not really because it only had a little flicker. And he had a nose stick that he would move it and move it. The flame never grew. Just a little flicker of a flame. And so they would laugh and do this. Well, one day when they were sitting there, North Wind felt something. He says, I have to go. The old man said, why? He said, I have to go. There is something coming. I have to go. And out the door he flies and goes back to the north where he lives. Suddenly the old man is sitting there and he hears somebody's knocking. He said, who is it? Who's at my door? Go away. I don't want nobody here. I didn't invite you. Go away. And the door starts to crumble. The ice starts to fall. And the old man is getting very angry. And you don't tell me who you are. Go away. I did not invite you here. Go away. And the knocking continues. And suddenly, all his home is starting to break apart. All the ice is falling down. All the snow is falling and melting. And suddenly there's a big gap in front of the old man. And there stands a beautiful, handsome young man. Beautiful buckskin, colors of all shades of beadwork. Just beautiful, long, long black hair. And he just stands in front of the old man, and the old man says, who are you? I didn't invite you here. Go away. Keeps chasing him away, and the young man just smiles at him and sits down in front of the old man. He has a little stick in his hand, a little green stick. And he starts to move the fire and move the fire. And suddenly the flame comes up higher and higher and higher. And the old man starts to sweat and to melt and melt and melt. Everything is melting. The house is melting. Everything is melting around him. And the old man says, who are you? Who are you? Go away. And the young, handsome man says, don't you know me? I am the one that where I walk flowers bloom. I touch the trees, they turn to all beautiful shades of greens with flowers also. I am the one that makes the waters run. I am the one that makes the birds sing. I am the one that is called spring. And once again, spring has defeated winter. Oh,
Oh, it's one of my favorite stories so much. I look forward to whenever you bring that one now, especially when it's really cold and you're like craving that change of season. You're like, oh, I just wish that spring would come already. It's
yes, and it's always good to keep the old stories. There's a lot of old stories that were made for a reason. They have a reason to be here, to teach us, and this is how we teach the children. This is how we tell them, it's spring. Well, what is spring? Well, let me tell you what spring is. Spring is this beautiful, handsome man that comes in winter. It's this old, rickety old man, all skin and bone, long, straggly hair, and all this. So you build it up in the child's mind, and he can imagine what winter looks like. And the icicles coming down and hanging down on the branches. And he can see that. You can build it up. And what you're doing, you're giving the child, you're building on his imagination. He already has one. He just has to be encouraged to build it up more, to start seeing pictures in his mind. I cannot remember what I did yesterday or last week, but I remember the stories because when I'm listening to them or writing them or something, I'm drawing pictures in my mind. And I may go off sometimes because another picture walks in.
Ah, okay, changes the story a little bit.
And it changes, and every day, I don't change other people's stories because that's one thing. You do not take a song that is not yours and change the words to it. You do not take a story that is not yours and change the story. If you have been given permission to do these things, you have to do how it is. You don't make it your own by changing things. You set the stage. So this is the same thing with the stories. I like to do my own stories because that way I can change them.
Yeah.
If I see something, I think this sounds better in there, so I'll throw it in there. And this is what stories are teaching. There are many, many lessons in every story. You can challenge a child and say, what do you see? What do you hear in the story? Tell me. Maybe they saw something, heard something that you hadn't even heard yourself. So stories are two-way streets.
Absolutely. I like hearing children's interpretations of stories because so many times they're very different than what an adult would think. And so I like talking through stories with my nephews and nieces so they can give me feedback. And sometimes they tell me, oh, I don't like that story, Theo. And I'm like, well, why not? They're all like, well, because I don't like bears. So like, can you change it to koalas instead? And I'm all like, koalas? I don't know about koalas. But what if I change it to squirrels? And they're like, oh yeah, we like squirrels. And so like, then they're part of the story. Like they're writing it with me now. And it's like more of a two-way street. It's like, we're writing the story together now, but we're keeping the original story somewhere a little bit in there still.
I did that last Saturday. I had a workshop on storytelling, which it was really different because I've never done a workshop on storytelling. I wanted to explain to people what in your mind is a storyteller. And most of them believe that storyteller is a person that tells stories. Well, a storyteller is a lot more than just a person that tells stories. A storyteller is a person that is connected, well, at least the storytellers that I know, the native storytellers. We are connected to Mother Earth. We live with Mother Earth. Everything in it is an entity of us and us of them. So telling stories about some animal that lives in the world on Earth gives us that feel, I know who you are, because of the connection that we have with Mother Earth. I know about that worm. I know about that grasshopper. I know about that worm that is on the ruda, the stinky worm that's on the ruda. I say stinky because to me the ruda stinks, so I think the worm is stinky too. And so we have a connection with the sky, the day sky, the night sky, the stars. Why are they there? This is where we come from. Why did we come from there? What are they teaching us? What are the stars telling us? We have connection with plants. To say we are healers, not healers as we would say we're curanderas or anything like that. But there is healing in the stories. Sometimes I may be telling you a story about something and I stop and I jump to another one because there is somebody in the audience that needs to hear that story because they're hurting about something and something makes me tell that story. We don't know where this comes from. It's just a feeling that we have. It's just a connection that we have to Mother Earth, that we feel through Mother Earth when we touch her, when we talk about her. And like I say, the stories are healers. Whether it's a funny story or it's a sad story, but it gives you comfort in one way or another. So none of the people, I'm surprised that none of them had ever heard that side of being a storyteller. And so I said, okay, let's do something. Let's make up a story. And give me 3 animals. And one said a dog, the other a buffalo, and the other, I forgot what the other one was. Well, we started the story and went to told that person, and they said something. And then the other person said something. The dog was not picked. But this person said something about the animal that was picked. The other one added to the story. And the other one added to, yeah, it went here, and the coyote was there, and they didn't know what to do with a rabbit, and so then it comes to this person. He said, and then a dog came running out of nowhere. She got her dog in there. She's the one that wanted the story about the dog that had not been picked, but yet she managed to get her dog in the story. Ooh. The dog came to warn the other 2 that there were some people coming. And so all 3 animals ended up getting into it. And so I used to do this in the classroom, and we had some of the best stories with the kids because of their imagination. Mm-hmm. They have a clean, fresh imagination, while we already have rules set in our minds. Yeah. They don't. Yeah. So that's it for the stories.
That was a real big topic that came up during season 1 too, right? That one of my favorite things that we learned during season 1 is all the saying that sometimes the story that wants to come out pushes its way to the front, and the story that you wanted to tell doesn't come out because it wasn't time yet. And so stories take a life of their own, and they want to be told when they want to be told, or they kind of change a little bit depending on who needs to hear it. And that's my favorite thing about stories is you can modify them to who needs to hear that story.
I was telling at a conference, a storytellers conference, and when I got there, they said, "Oh, Grandma, we set up something wonderful for you." I said, "Yeah, what?" I said, "We put up a teepee for you, and it's all covered with blankets and hides and everything for you to tell stories in." So I said, "Thank you." So I knew I was going to go a certain time, half an hour. That was it. And so I get in there, and it's my turn to tell stories. So I start telling stories. I'd gone with a friend of mine. She's a Lakota. She's from Pine Ridge, and she stayed outside Beverly to not let people come in, because she wouldn't let anybody come in when we were doing storytelling, not to interrupt the storytellers. And so I told stories and told stories and told stories, and she opened the tip and said, let's go. I said, what? He said, you're late. I said, for what? He said, you're supposed to be on stage right now, the main stage. I said, okay, that was an hour ago. She said, you're late. You should have been there an hour ago, but they're holding the plate for you. Okay. And so I said, who's supposed to be here telling stories? And two hands go up. I said, how come y'all didn't come out? He said, because we were enjoying your stories so much. I get over here. And then I took off. I run to the stage, get on stage and welcome me and everything. And I start telling the story and I'm already at the end. And I'm going, wait a minute. This is a long story. Why am I almost finishing the story? Then I realized I had started it at the middle. But I was at a good spot that I could go back and bring the first part in and finish the story. So thank goodness for imagination.
Yeah.
That you can kind of think, because I saved myself. Otherwise, that story would have ended and nobody would have known what I was talking about because everything was in the first half.
That's what's great about being like an artist or performer or a talent like that. You are, absolutely. You've proven that many times. You know, it's wonderful to have that talent, that skill. Like it helps you through life, right? Not just when you're performing, but when you're just talking to people or even for job interviews. Like those are skills that you take everywhere with you. You know, it's really important to be able to communicate what you're trying to say to other people. And stories are like a really great way of training yourself on how to talk to people and how to address groups and how to morph a story so the group that you're talking to can understand it. And I feel like as the older we get and like the more dependent we get on cell phones and stuff like that, the harder it is for people to have conversations because they're losing those skills on how to talk to each other or how to perform.
My mother told stories. I come from a line of storytellers. My mother, my father, my aunts, my grandmother. Of course, I heard the stories from my grandmother and my aunts when we went to Benavides, because that's where they lived. But at home, I would hear the stories from my mother and my daddy. On nice, warm spring and summer nights, we would sit out in the front yard, and the neighbors would come over, and the ladies, they'd bring their chairs, and they'd be talking about cooking and baking, and their day had gone and all that. And then mother would start telling stories. And all of us kids are running around in the night looking for, thank goodness for the street lights, looking for linternas, little fireflies, and getting them shame on us, riding them on. So we would go. And every now and then I'd get a jar and I'd put a whole bunch and let them out at night. So you're laying down in the dark room and you see those little things off in the dark. But that's where I would hear the stories all the time. My mother told wonderful, wonderful stories. My father's stories were the best.
Oh.
Because you never knew if they were true or not. Oh, he was such a good liar. That's where I get my line from. That's where my line comes from. He would make them so interested. I could hardly, Papá, me va a decir una cuenta, me va a contar un cuento. Sí, mijita, sí, mijita. And he would go into his story. They were hilarious. I can't tell you that they were not bad. It's just they were his stories.
Sure.
That se le apareció el diablo, the devil appeared to him, and all that. He drank, so could be maybe that's why. But that's who my father was, and I love him. I respect him. My mother said, he's your father, and you respect him no matter what. He got after me one time. And all he told me, ay, mijita, pay attention to your mother in Spanish. Ponle atención a tu mamá. My father had gotten after me. Oh my God. I didn't talk to him for a week. I was heartbroken. He had gotten after me.
How could he do that?
Yeah.
You were his favorite. How could he do that?
I was the only one. He didn't have a choice. I was the only one. But, this is the kind of relationship that I had with my daddy. He never raised his voice. Whether he came from having been with his buddies drinking or whatever, Mama would say, ay, ahí viene tu papá. Okay. Ya vine, viejita. Ya vine, mija. Vaya a acostarse, papá. Sí, mijita. Go lay down. So he, never said no. Very calm, quiet, very calm. And, but that's what it was at that time. Never abused, never raised his voice to me or my mother. I was always very grateful for that he was not that kind of person. He watered her plants, he helped her plant her garden, dig the hole to make barbacoa, because we always had a hole in the yard to make barbacoa, to put carne to asar, to make barbacoa. So it was, and here I'm getting away from those stories and I'm giving you my story. But there's still stories. There's still stories which hopefully this encourages you to talk to your children about your stories, your grandmother's stories, your mother's stories. What happened? They may be sad, but it's a part of life. It's a part of life that sometimes we have to come to terms with that part of life for our own sake, if for nobody else's. And it's also lessons for our children to know my mother washed and ironed, crocheted, embroidered, baked, did everything she could to make a living. And there's no shame in that, because there is such a hard job. That is so hard. To be washing on the scrub board, not even a washing machine, to be boiling the clothes, to be rinsing the clothes in a tub of water with blue in it, and the water is blue. Your white clothes comes out so white, they look light blue, beautiful, hanging them on the clothesline, letting them dry. Grandmothers, tell your kids those stories, what it was like for you. Of course, there's a lot of young grandmothers now, not the old grandmothers like me, but if you remember your great-grandmother's stories, talk to them about
Absolutely.
it, what it was like. Because right now, a lot of the kids are struggling through a lot. A lot of them have it very easy. They don't know what it's like to struggle, to not have what everybody else has. And really, you don't have to have what everybody else has. Just be grateful all the time. Be in gratitude for what you do have. And appreciate what you have.
Recognize that you have something. You know, that's something that we talked about earlier. It's not like you really have to appreciate what you have while you have it, because it's after you lose it, it doesn't mean as much to appreciate it. You know, you need to be able to show your love to the people you love and care about while you can, right?
I wasn't gonna do this, and I'm not. I'm not. I said I wouldn't, and I'm not. Elder brother was walking about, and he was looking at everything that was around him. The trees were in all beautiful shades of greens, with chartreuse yellows and blended in. Some were blooming. The grasses, all different shapes. Some that had little spears and some that had little flowers on them. All different kinds of grasses and wildflowers. Oh, there were wildflowers everywhere. There was a creek running by, and along the creek there were cattails, more different grasses, more different plants. Hyacinths were blooming. And Elder brother is walking through all this, and he comes to a village, and he sees the children. They are playing and laughing and chasing each other, having such a good time. And he thinks about it, how beautiful they are, how happy they are, and what a shame that they're going to grow up and lose this innocence. And someday, like the season, they would be gone. But he thought about it and he says, I have to create something. And so he takes his buckskin bag and he gets mail from the cornflowers. He gets flowers of all different colors and puts them in the bag. He gets the greens and different shades of leaves from the trees and puts them in the bags. Cattails in there. Pollen and puts it in there. Dark from the night sky. Blue from the day sky. twinkles bits of mica in there from the stars, takes a song from the birds and puts it in there, closes it up. And he calls the children over, come, come, come. He said, here, open it up. And they open it up and all these beautiful things fly out. Oh, they're so beautiful. They're flying. The children are jumping, trying to catch them and trying to catch them. And they are singing so beautiful. Oh, this new creation. The song is wonderful. And they land on you and land on you everywhere. They are every place. Wings in all different colors. And their song is so beautiful. And the children are having such a good time. And the birds come to him and say, elder brother, it is good that you have created all these beautiful new things, but you took our song away. Grandfather gave us our song, and now we don't have a song. Elder brother says, you know, you're right. And so he takes a song away from all these new creations that he made and gives it back to the birds. The birds start to sing and sing and sing, beautiful like before. And now, when you see the butterflies, the new creation, their wings are in all the beautiful, beautiful colors, but they are silent. Not really. If you take the time to listen when one lands on you to talk to you, listen to what it says. Listen to its song. He didn't take all the song away. Butterflies are messengers. They bring us messages of love. We're always here. We came from something that was planted, that turned into a cocoon, that turned into something else, that opened up, and we came out just like we did from the buckskin bag. And then when you look at the cocoons, they look like buckskin bags, like what Elder Brother first created. Butterflies are coming in. Monarchs are coming in. I've seen yellow butterflies all day. They're all colors coming in. Enjoy the butterflies. Sing to them. Talk to them. They hear you. I hope.
Oh, a beautiful story. Oh, I look forward every season to when the butterflies come in, because here in San Antonio they just kind of take over when you see just giant flocks of butterflies crossing the highway or.
And you hate to drive.
Oh, I know, it's the worst.
And I know.
I try and stop or as slow as I can,
But
but
we can't.
there's that many of
Clouds
them.
of them. Last year we did the Butterfly Festival.
Oh, it's fun.
I loved it. And I told this story. And it was such a good time. And I had bought 2 butterfly monarchs made out of feathers, little ones. So I thought, I'm going to wear the colors of the monarch butterfly and wear my butterfly earrings.
Mm-hmm.
So I wore a butterfly earring. Man, I could have made bunches of money because everybody wanted my butterfly earring. And I thought I'd make some of it, but no, I don't have a market coming up or anything. Otherwise, I would have had butterfly earrings selling all over the place. So, what do you have on schedule? Anything coming up?
Well, we're starting April, so it's in the month of April here in San Antonio. It is Literature and Poetry Month, which is a big reason why we started this Storytime with Grandma Emma, part of the city endeavors. But we also host the San Antonio Powwow this coming on the 3rd Saturday of this month.
Oh, that's right.
It's the only Fiesta Native American event that's on the calendar, so it's a really big deal. It's also the biggest powwow of the season for this region. Our organization will be there representing, and we'll also have some of our powwow dancers.
A&M?
At AIT-SCM, that's right. It's at AIT-SCM this year. It's the first time they'll host a powwow there. That's gonna be exciting.
I liked it when they had it at Woodlawn Lake.
Oh yeah, I did too.
Oh, I like that spot. I like that place. Even at the Mission, number 1, not like last year that we
Oh,
were
Mission
in the
County
sun.
number 1 part.
Yeah, the pavilion number 1. I liked it there. But I really liked it when they had it at Woodlawn. They did for years.
Mhm.
For years they had it there.
That's my neighborhood, so I liked it when it was there. 'Cause
I like it because it's close to, not close to me, but it's closer than A&M. Well, no, I think I'm pretty much about the same distance as there. So I had forgotten all about it.
Well, I can't believe we're already 4 months into 2023. Like, where did 2022 go?
Yeah.
I don't. This year's
Or
just
where is
flown
this
by.
year going by? I mean, last year went by real fast, but this year,
Mhm.
it's just going by so fast. We had a lot of native functions at the end of the year.
We hosted our annual pecan harvest dinner, all pecan themed food in December, and then November was Native American Appreciation Month, so we had the art show for that, which you helped participate in. Had a lot of your original artwork and watercolors in there.
We have a new series of artwork. We haven't put it out. It's called We Are the Land. It's very interesting, very pretty, and it's Mother Earth. And it has a lot to do with the Pueblos and the Apache, and the Wickiups. The prints are not going to be sold, but we are going to be having posters.
Yeah.
We're going to be having posters of the artwork. I am very, very pleased with this. It was something that I did one drawing, and when I saw it, I knew that there was a series coming on. There's a series of 20, I believe, 20 pictures. And hopefully we'll have some posters to show to you next time, or the time afterwards to show you what is, because there's a store here. Talk about the store, tell them.
Part of the Spirit Waters Art Gallery is we also have our permanent Yanoan Arts Market, where we have invited 21 local Indigenous artists to showcase their art and their crafts and jewelry in our store. It's all consignment based, so artists receive 90% of all their artwork back. It's just our way of how we promote and are able to give performers like yourself a platform and a place where they can show their art and craft, and take a little bit of the pressure off of some of our elders from having to be vendors out in public all day, every day. Trying to make it a little bit easier for San Antonians and outsider visitors to know where they can find authentic Indigenous Native American art, direct from people here, so that you are, as an art collector, you know who made these art pieces and where it's coming from and the story and intention behind them. It's been very wonderful. We've been able to host a few private events already for the market. We've done wonderful sales for a number of our artists, and we've only just begun. We've only had our store up and available since December. It's gonna be a permanent installation here, so just like this permanent art gallery, our Yanoana Artisans Market is gonna be available to all San Antonio residents.
See, for me, this is great because I can tell you a story, I can build you a house, but I cannot technology, forget it. I don't know how to do any of that stuff. I don't know how to sell. I see where people put stuff on Instagram, beautiful artwork and all that. And I'm going, that looks like mine. That looks like mine. That jewelry looks like mine and that. But I don't know how to sell it. So now I have a space here. There's a place here where I can sell it.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that works. There's a lot of elders out there that are very knowledgeable with technology. I'm not one of them. Definitely not one of them. Stories come in different ways. Sometimes we might see something that, oh, that could be a story. But this morning, I wasn't going to do anything but just take my time, get ready to come, and got a cup of coffee, sat down. A story came into my mind. Usually a storyline comes and then I'm building on it. No, this time it came gushing. All of it came gushing. So I took a piece of paper that I had already written something on it. So I'm writing in the back, trying to put it down so it doesn't go away. So you're going to be listening to a new story. The next time you hear it, there might be different things because, like I said, it just came. So please Don't say she forgot the story. No, it's just being built. That's what it is. Not that, and
100%
maybe I did
original.
forget something very, very original, extremely original. There is a tribe, and in this tribe, there lived a little boy and a little girl, brothers and sisters. Who was older, who was younger, I don't know. But they were always together. They were always getting into trouble, but they always looked after each other. They always took care of one another. One of those times, the little girl was standing on some boulders by the river, not the calm part of the river, but the river where the water is just hitting the side, splashing, rumbling, just rough, and she's standing up there looking at it. The boulders, the rocks are all slippery, and he tells her, do not get too near, you might slip and fall. She didn't pay attention. She was looking at it. The water it just looked so pretty, the way it would splash up and everything. And sure enough, she gave one step and she slipped and she fell into the river. So there she goes stumbling with the water down, and he sees it and he jumps in after her and he gets her out. And he is kind of upset with her because she didn't listen. And he looks at her and says, I told you to be careful. You could have drowned. And she just smiles at him. And he said, what? He said, you were there. I wasn't worried. You were there. And so they both start to laugh and laugh and laugh. And off they go. Another time, they were playing around and he saw an anahuac tree. Anahuac tree has rough green leaves, beautiful bark. It has little clusters, what looks like little apples. And you eat them. They're not crispy, crunchy, no. They're kind of soft, but they're sweet. And so he climbs up to get some of those little apples for them to eat. They're little bitty things, not hardly any size at all. And his buckskin legging gets caught, one of the fringes gets caught between some branches, and he gets stuck up there and he can't get down. Well, sister climbs up the tree and brings him down. And they laugh and laugh, and they eat the apples. Now, they love to plant. They love to play with anything they find. She loves to sing, and he loves to dance. And one of those times that they're eating their apples, and they put the apples aside, and they start grabbing stones and crushing and making little powders because they're going to paint. And he's doing the same thing. They've gathered plants and roots and berries, and they're crushing all these things, putting them in little gourd pots that they had cracked, cut the chunk out, took everything out, and put the paints in there, the mixtures, and put water and made paints. And she starts, hey, 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 hey. That's all he needed to hear. So he started, hey, 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 hey. So they're dancing and having such a good time that before you know it, they pick up the little pot and they throw the paint up in the air. They pick up another pot and throw it up in the air. Everywhere paint is going all over where they have been sitting down eating and all that and doing their work. And they fall asleep, get so tired from singing and dancing, and they just lay back and they laugh and laugh. They fall asleep. In a little while, they wake up. And everywhere that paint has landed, flowers are blooming. Flowers in all these colors. And even the paint that went up to the sky, there's a beautiful rainbow. The paint stayed up there and everywhere. So now, when you drive down the road in the place that we call Texas, say thank you to Bluebird, the little girl. Thank you to Redbird, the little boy, because they have given you all the flowers, the wildflowers that we see along our roads. Oh,
Oh, I love
hope you
that.
enjoy that.
I did really enjoy that, and I love that it's a brand new song.
It's a brand new story. It's a brand new. I'm gonna work on the song because that one just whatever came out of my mouth came out of my mouth. Will go. But there's a new one that I wrote down for next week also.
Oh, so exciting!
Yeah,
See, we're getting all new
Yeah,
stuff.
that one came a couple of days ago, and this is what I do. I've been making dream catchers, doing a lot of new artwork to bring back to market, something totally new. Not that I haven't done this before, but it's going to be different from what I have done before.
That's one of my favorite things about working with you. Is like I never really know what to expect, and I always know there's going to be a new surprise of something that pops in your head.
Yeah, because somebody sometimes will remind me, Grandma, you haven't done so and so. I said, oh my God, I haven't. That's right. I said, it's been what, 10, 15, 20 years since I did that. And because I've been doing artwork all my life. And so to be reminded of something.
Or that people remember your art that way.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a very accomplished feeling. It's like, you remember when I did that 20 years ago?
I had trouble one time with a car. My car started acting up. And I went into this car lot, to this lot. And it was a Bill Miller's lot. And I raised the hood. And a guy came and says, can I help you? I said, well, I don't know what's going on. It just started acting up in this. And so he looked and, he says, this is a little bit loose. This cable to the battery was a little bit loose. So he tightened it up and that. He said, I know you. I said, you do? And I'm going to say, I don't remember you. He said, yeah, you were a teacher. I said, yes. He said, you were rough. I said, oh my God. I said, yeah, did you deserve it? He said, yes, ma'am. He said, but I'm glad you were like that because it straightened me out.
There you go.
It straightened me out. I said, and what are you doing? He said, well, he had a real good job. I said, are you still teaching? He said, yeah. I said, good, because there's a lot of kids out there that need you.
That's right.
But I didn't know what he was going to say. But you were rough. I said, yeah, well, it wasn't that I was mean or anything like that. I just didn't let him get by with anything.
Gotta give children some structure.
Yeah. Okay, you did that. Now tell me, why did you do it? And don't give me a because that's not an answer. But I was always real serious. But they knew, he said something. He said, but no matter what we did, we knew we could come and talk to you.
Yeah, that's important.
And that made a difference to me. I said, yeah. I said, you knew you could.
Mm-hmm.
I always had your back. But that meant I'm not going to let you get away with whatever you're used to getting away with.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody has to tell you you're on the straight and narrow, and I will definitely be it. Yeah. And so, we got time for another story before we leave. Okay, a real quick one. Mm-hmm. When grandfather created the animals, he made this animal, so fluffy, all white, fluffy, just beautiful. But he knew he was beautiful. But after a while, he got to be kind of vain, kind of mean, and he would go around picking on everybody. And one day as he's going down this path, he comes to a tree and he hears a noise. And he looks up, and up on the tree, there's a nest. So he climbs up on the nest to see who's in there. And there's some little baby owls. Baby owls are not pretty when they're
They're not.
They have got the big bulging eyes, skinny. I mean, they're not pretty at all. I don't want to go any forward with the description.
Yeah, but they're not very cute with their baby.
No, because they have this great big
eyes and scrawny
big
necks.
head. I mean, they're strange looking little things. And so he looks at him and he says, Ooh, you guys are ugly. Look at you. Oh my God. If I was hungry, I wouldn't even eat y'all because y'all are so ugly. Y'all are nasty looking. Well, that guy just kept going on and on and on about how ugly they were. He said, I bet your mama wouldn't even like you, but she has no choice. She has you. But you are ugly. And the poor little owlets are just there, just shaking and shaking and shaking. And they start to cry. And then the rabbit, this fella looks around and he sees Mama coming. Ooh, he goes down the tree and goes down the path. And Mama comes to the nest and said, why are you crying? Why are you shaking like that? What happened? Mama, finally they get the words out. They said we were nasty looking, that you didn't even want us, but you didn't have a choice. And they, ooh, she's a mama. Mm-hmm. You don't talk about the baby, no matter what our babies look like, they're beautiful to us. And so she just saw him going down the road. She goes down, she grabs him with her claw, picks him up, and that right soon around there, lightning had hit a tree. So there were still embers growing and fire in there. So she drops him in there and he starts to scream, oh, help me, I'm burning, help me. Well, she's not bad. She was just angry because they hurt her babies. So she goes and grabs him out, and right there is a lake. So she goes and drops him into the lake. So he crawls out very, very slowly, and he just lays there for a while, and then he's able to walk around. And today, when you see him, the only thing that was left was one streak in his back. And he is the one that always had that streak, and he is a skunk. And smell, that's the one thing he never got rid of. He still stinks. So that's how a skunk got to look like he does. Mm. So don't act like a skunk. You'll get a streak down your back.
Oh, that was such a great surprise story. We were not planning to share that today. I love that you just popped in your head. Like, oh, I didn't share that one today.
And I'm trying to think of a short one that wouldn't be too long, because sometimes they are kind of long.
Oh, that was a great story.
But I wanted to get that new one in there, so make sure that one in there.
Absolutely.
That was a fun one.
Yeah, it's been fun this afternoon.
Yeah, it is. I enjoy this young man so much.
I enjoy you so much.
I enjoy him so much.
You give me a lot of confidence.
He's the one that calls and checks on me and see if, he doesn't say, are you alive? But at least he calls and checks to see if I'm alive.
Making sure you're answering that phone.
Yeah, because it's just me. It's just me at home, trying to stay busy and stay out of trouble. And
it's always important to check on your elders all times. You know?
Yeah, I hear that, and everybody says that. I have, I think, 3 people that check on me constantly, and this is one of them.
I'm happy to do that.
Yes, I like to get him in trouble.
Oh, don't you always? But
so sweetie, we're
up on time for that. Yeah,
it's been good. It's been fun getting back into it.
Absolutely, I love this, and I can't wait. This is just the first of. We still have 3 more to go after this, and so for all you viewers out there, we hope you'll join us every week on Monday from 4 to 5 p.m. here on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube Live. All of our programs go live and then are uploaded onto our profiles, so they're always there for you and your family to enjoy. We hope you send us some feedback. We love to hear how these stories affected you.
Oh, yeah.
Send us your artwork. We love to see people's art and see what stories came out of these experiences, so please give us your feedback. We love to hear from you. The easiest way is always to contact us through our social media accounts. You can find American Indians in Texas at Spanish Colonial Missions on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and Twitter by using the acronym AIT-SCM. Grandma Emma is also on all of our social media. You can find her at Grandmother Coyote. And I myself am Mesquite Papi. We look forward to seeing you each and every week this month. We hope that you enjoyed your time with us and that you come back next week. Well, no further ado, thank you all. Adios.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.